Apps can do a lot of cool things. You could order dinner, gamble on your favorite team, and track your health. You could even get a mortgage. One click and you can be approved. I'm not sure by who or what country they're in. You deserve more from the mortgage industry. At AnyMac Home Mortgage, we believe in the need for live human interaction during a very complex process. The kind of service and guidance which an app simply can't provide. Our customers are more than credit scores and income documents. They're individuals and families who live in and strengthen our communities. Their story is our story, and that story begins in a home. Chris Sawyer is an expert on providing superior customer service and in meeting the mortgage needs of current and future homebuyers. With over 18 years of experience in the industry, Chris is able to help customers migrate through the home buying and home financing process by using his wealth of knowledge as a well-qualified mortgage professional. And best of all, Chris is located in Cromwell, Connecticut, where he has helped hundreds of clients in Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island make their dreams of homeownership a reality. Visit chrissawyer.any-mac.com. Email him at csawyer@any-mac.com or give him a call, 860-878-8730.
Chris Sawyer, NMLS number 39345, corporate NMLS number 338923. AnyMac Home Mortgage is an equal housing lender. American Neighborhood Mortgage Acceptance Company, LLC. DBA AnyMac Home Mortgage. Lo-Fi Direct. Connecticut First Mortgage Correspondent. License Lender. Broker number ML 338923. Massachusetts Mortgage Lender and Mortgage Broker License number MC 338923. Rhode Island License Lender. License number 201128110L. Call for additional details.
Welcome to Sports Talk with R&J. I'm Steve Risser, along here with Justin and Afrio. And last night, with 8 seconds to go and the Pacers having a 3-game lead, we all thought they were going to steal game 1 of that series. But what happened after was shocking. They turned the ball over. The Pacers they throw the inbounds pass out of bounds. Then the Celtics get another chance. And then Jaylen Brown hits the 3 to tie the game. And the Celtics go on to win 133-128 in overtime. Crazy game 1 of this series. It looked like early on the Celtics were going to blow them out. Then the Pacers came back, tied the game at halftime. Then late in the third quarter, it looked like the Celtics were going to blow it out, and the Pacers came back again. They just kept coming and coming and coming. And then, the Pacers had a 5-point lead with less than 2 minutes to go, but it just didn't happen for them. They had it. They had the game. I mean, Rick Carlisle admitted afterwards, I should have called a timeout to advance the ball. Carlisle admitted it, and then you could argue, at the end, he definitely should have fouled there. So, not the best 8 seconds for Rick Carlisle, not the best 8 seconds for the Pacers, and now they'll have to play game 2 on Thursday night. They have to go into that game down 0-1 when they thought with 8 seconds left they definitely were going to be up 1-0.
Yeah, that was a tough one for the Pacers to let slip away. Carlisle, who I don't think he's really coached a great playoffs, because that was the 4th time they should have fouled and he didn't. He was complaining about the Knicks series, about the refereeing. I don't think it's been a great postseason for him coaching wise. I know they're still in the finals or in the conference finals right now. That and then Halbert in the final minute, 57 seconds left. He comes on the floor. I think there's about 15 seconds left on the shot clock. Pulls up from 3 and he bricks it. Probably wasn't the best shot there to take from Halbert, and he had a ugly kind of final minute there as well. He didn't play well down the stretch. So, the turnovers there, the kickball, not advancing the ball. It's a really tough way for the Pacers to lose, and they came out well. They rebounded it from that early on the overtime session, to go up 5, and then the Celtics kind of took control of the rest of the game, and definitely a tough one. And Tatum, who I think missed his last 6 field goals in regulation, did play better in overtime, but he did not play well down the stretch, and he's very fortunate that game got to overtime.
Absolutely. We'll get to Tatum. We will get to Jason Tatum. But first, we got to talk about the other superstar, Tyrese Halliburton. And I'm glad you brought him up because, yes, he was great for 3 quarters. But again, how many times we talked about in this postseason, how many times we talked about Tyrese Halliburton, not only the best play Tyrese Halliburton made late in the game in this postseason when he was being doubled late against the Knicks, threw the ball out to Andrew Nembhard, and he shot a 3, and then the Pacers won game 3, which saved them in that series against the Knicks. But late in games, Tyrese Halliburton, he was great for 3 quarters, but late in this game, he was not. He didn't score at all in the 4th quarter. He did not score at all in the 4th quarter. So late in the game, he was not great. We've talked about this. If the Pacers want to be special, if this Pacer team wants to be a championship team, Tyrese Halliburton has got to step up in the 4th quarter. Now, give him all the credit in the world. We did it in Game 7 at the Garden on Sunday. He was aggressive and he was ready to go. But to win a championship, you're going to be. I think the Knicks had a really good year. I don't want to, go after the Knicks, but you're going to be playing teams better than the Knicks. You're going to be playing teams better than the Knicks if you want to win a championship. You got to beat teams better than the Knicks. So Tyrese Halliburton has got to step up late in games if this Pacer team wants to win a championship this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And they got a great effort pretty much from their starting five. I thought Siakam played pretty well. I thought Aaron Naismith had a good game. Miles Turner, Nembhard, and then McConnell and Obi Toppin off the bench. Those two played pretty well last night. Shot the ball well. So yeah, for everybody to kind of play well around him, which helps Halliburton out because he is such a great facilitator. But yes, late in the game, he's got to be the guy that's got to be aggressive. He's got to be the guy to go at you a bucket. And yeah, he wasn't able to do that. And that definitely had an impact on the basketball game and a reason why they lost again. Other things with the coaching and not fouling and all that, but yeah, Halliburton to not score a point there in the fourth quarter, definitely disappointing. And I know he'll definitely bounce back from it. And hopefully, late in Game 7 in the Garden, he really stepped it up and played his best.
Yeah. I mean, this Pacer team has been resilient. I don't think the series is anywhere near over. This Pacer team has been resilient. They were down 0-2 against the Knicks, and they ended up winning 4-5. They were down 3-2 against the Knicks, faced elimination 2 games in a row, and won both of those games. So this Pacer team has been very resilient all year. So I would not be surprised if they even this series on Thursday and even take the series of 6 or 7 games. But we will now shift to the Celtics, and we'll talk about what do the Celtics have to do to take command of this series on Tuesday night. And you brought it up with Jason Tatum. I know Tatum was great in overtime. I get it. But if Jason Tatum, if the Celtics want to win a championship, but just like we said with the Pacers, Jason Tatum has got to be better in the fourth quarter. You said it. Missed his last 6 shots, and he is very, very lucky that the Pacers and Jaylen Brown bailed him out at the end.
Yeah, he absolutely is lucky that they bailed him out. That was a tough shot that Brown hit, and he was struggling from 3. Most again, I think Brown was 2 for 8, and Tatum in the playoffs, he's only 27% from 3. Like that 3 ball has not been falling for him so far in the playoffs, and he's got to get to the basket more. He's got to try to dodge some fouls because the 3 ball hasn't been working for him, and I don't want him to settle because it really has. I know he could shoot. I thought he shot 30%, 37% for the year. But yeah, he's got to be better in the game situations. He missed a couple of wide open shots too there at the end of regulation that he's got to knock down. So again, it's been this story all year for the Celtics, and with Tatum is he's got to be the guy. He's got to elevate his game, and to be on that level of being the conversation of the best player in the league, they got to win the title. And he got very lucky last night to get bailed out, and then did bounce back and overtime played pretty well.
Yeah, and right now he's not a top 5 player in the league. Right now, I know he had 36 last night. I know he stepped up in overtime, but to me right now, he's not a top 5 player in the league. And he's got to win a championship. And he's got to be. And let's be honest. I know he stepped up at the end last night, but he's got to be better than what he was in the fourth quarter last night. He's got to be. If the Celtics are going to beat Minnesota, they could get by Indiana with him playing the way he's been playing. But they cannot get by Minnesota or Dallas if he plays the way he's been playing in the postseason.
Yeah, absolutely not. Because again, like last night, not finishing down the stretch, you're not going to blow out a team like Minnesota very often because of the way they play defense. And close game at the end, I know Jaylen Brown hit a tough shot last night to tie it, but for the most part, I don't trust Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown in a big moment right now. So close game with the Timberwolves, yeah, that'd be difficult. And Dallas has been really good at rim protection. Jason has been wanting to get to glass, wanting to score inside. So, yeah, for the Celtics, again, they're the best. Like this, they are the best team still remaining in this. It's their championship to lose. But yeah, those two got to be a lot better, especially Tatum. If they can get by Indiana, which is not going to be a walk in the park here, but yeah, they got to be better to win a title, and there's a lot of pressure on them.
Yeah, they're the best team, but I don't think they definitely don't have the best player going. That's either Minnesota or Dallas, and we'll get to that. That's either Ant-Man or Luka, because Tatum is not better than Ant-Man or Luka, that's for sure. So they're the best team, I feel like, overall team, but they don't have the best player, or they don't have the best closer So that's definitely the thing with the Celtics is they got the best team, but they don't have the best player or best closer. But going back to what they need to do to go up 2-0, another thing they got to do is they need more of their bench. Their bench was outscored 32-13 in the game, and also they need to be better defensively. Gave up 117 points. If they continue to play the defense they're playing, they could end up getting upset in this series.
Yeah, I liked your final point there. I kind of their defense. I have kind of keeping the Pacers out of transition. They're one of the fastest teams in the league. These are the two top most efficiency offensive teams in the league, and two of the top in the history of the league. So Pacers want to get out and run. You saw in the last years the Pacers made the Knicks run, and the Knicks were one of the slowest paced teams in the league. So Boston's got this number 2 overall defense in the league. But they gotta they got to they got to run back with them defensively and not take their time with the floor. And then my other one for the Celtics win the battle on the glass. You saw the Knicks kind of take advantage of that, especially on the offensive glass. I thought the Celtics did a really good job of that towards the end of the fourth quarter last night. And then also it's a little bit easier too. You're scoring, especially second chance opportunities. Pacers got inbound the ball. It takes them couple extra seconds there to get up the floor instead of off of a miss, and they kind of create some 3 on 2 opportunities from an outlet pass. So that was my other one, and my third one was show up for game 2. They lost both game 2 so far in the playoffs. They were fortunate to win last night. I know in the first 2 they blew out Miami and they blew out Cleveland in both game 1s, but you can't. I can't stand watching the Celtics play sometimes because they just look so lifeless at times. They look soft. They don't respect their opponents. They can't come out and play like that in game 2. And because Indiana hasn't lost at home. And I'm not saying the Celtics can't go to Indiana and beat them, but Indiana's been really, really good at home. You got fortunate the other night. You don't want to slip up here in game 2 and make it 1-1, giving Indiana a lot of giving them a lot of kind of momentum, them to start to really believe that they can beat you in this series. So I think for the Boston, they got to show up in game 2.
And we've talked about, and yeah, you talk about their struggles in game 2, and it's really been their home struggles. Their home struggles over the last 3 years have been baffling. The Celtics in the last the last 3 years at home since 2022. They're 16-14 at home. They were 6 that year. They got to the finals. They were 6-6 when Ime was the coach. They were 6-6, and then the last 2 years they've been 10-8 at home. And the last 2, and they've lost 2 closeout games on their home floor. 2 closeout games. Game 6 in the conference finals in 2022, and then game 7 last year. They've lost 2 closeout games on their home floor. This Celtic team is not good at that. For a great team, they're not good at home. Let's be honest. They're just not good at home. And the thing is, if they drop this game, Indiana has been outstanding at home, especially in this postseason.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the Celtics team has pretty much the same rating as efficiency rating as like the Warriors team in 2016 to 2017. I think the Warriors team would win it in 5 games max against the Celtics team.
Easily. Stop with the efficiency rating. That Warrior team would destroy this Celtic team.
Absolutely. But I think it just shows how good this Boston team could be if they put it all together. Because I think 1 through 10, yeah, they have the best roster 1 through 10, but they don't put it all together at times. So yeah, absolutely. This Boston team's gotta be better at home, especially in the playoffs. Again, I don't know what it is with them, if they just think they're gonna blow by this team, or even with Cleveland or Miami, but they just lack the respect, and that's gonna catch up with you. And we've seen it catch up with them the last couple of years, and it would be nice for them here to kind of take care of business, early on, because you got lucky last night. So hopefully that's a wake-up call for the Celtics team.
We'll see what happens there. But I think the biggest thing with the Celtic team is, they probably 1 through 10 have the best team in the NBA. The thing is Missoula, I don't think he's good, but he's definitely not a great coach. And Tatum, he's top 10, but he's not top 5.
Yeah, absolutely. Missoula's not great. Tatum, yeah, he's top 10. Again, he can be the best player in the league. But he's got to win that title. He's got to be better down the stretch in a big moment. And we haven't seen it from him yet. Until we do, yeah, he's he's not in that conversation, unfortunately. He's got to take that next step, and you know, hopefully, for the Boston fans, he can bring that to him. But I'll see it when I believe it.
Exactly. And now, what do the Pacers have to do to even the series on Thursday night? For me, obviously, you got to close out that. You got to close out games. You're up 3 with 8 seconds to go. Championship team, you got to close the game out. You can't lose a game when you're up by 3 points with 8 seconds to go and you have the ball. You got to close the game out. Number 2, as we've said it, Halliburton's going to be better in crunch time. If you're going to be the star, you're going to be the best player on a championship team. You got to be better in crunch time. And number 3, Siakam and Turner got to continue to play the way they are. When Siakam, Turner, and the only game they've lost in this postseason when Halliburton, Siakam, and Turner have played really well in, it was last night. So Siakam and Turner have to continue to play really well.
Yeah, for me, I'll start kind of with your last point you brought up. Especially for Miles Turner, because the Celtics, until Porzingis comes back, they don't have a center that can guard him. They put Cornette on him, and he stood no chance. And Miles Turner, I know he shot some threes, I know he shot well, but man, whoever's on him down low, go post him up and go take him to the basket, because they don't have an answer for you till Porzingis comes back. So Indiana's got to expose that matchup. He's got to continue to play well, for the Pacers here. Number 2. Kind of your first point, kind of closing out games. I had following up 3 late. It's Carlisle's kind of been like Mario Cristobal, the Miami head coach. Just no idea how to end the game situation. Just doesn't learn his lesson. It just continues to make dumb mistakes that cost his team. So the Pacers follow up 3. This has been multiple times this playoffs that they've blown a spot where they should have followed up 3 and they didn't. And then my final one is cut down on turnovers. They had 22 last night, and the Celtics capitalized with 32 points off of turnovers. They gotta be better with the basketball. They gotta value a bit more. Can't give this Boston, especially because they're not great defensively. You cannot give this Boston team kind of a couple easy possessions where they can get some fast break opportunities or some 2-on-1, 3-on-2s to score against you. So cut down the turnovers for the next game.
Definitely. So for the series, I said Celtics in 6 to begin, and I'm going to keep that same prediction. I'm going to go Celtics in 6. And even though they got to play better, I still think they win this in 6.
Yeah, I think this thing goes 6. I think Indiana, we'll get a couple here at home. Maybe they still win in Boston as well. I just don't trust this Boston team, and there's going to be one game where this Boston team doesn't show up and Indiana blows them out. Because for the most part, in a lot of these playoff games, it seems like Boston blows out their opponent or they get blown out by the opponent. So I think that will happen once or twice in the series.
Yeah, I think so as well. Now we'll move on to the Western Conference with the Mavs and the T-Wolves. And it all starts tonight with those 2 teams. I mean, the Mavs winning in 6 over the Thunder, and the T-Wolves, what an impressive performance. Beating the defending champs in 7 games, winning Game 7 on the Nuggets home floor. So really, really impressive. You got 2 top 5 players. Clearly, as we say, we say that Tatum's not top 5. Both these teams clearly have 2 top 5 players in the game, with Luka Doncic and Anthony Edwards. So both these teams have 2 top 5 players in the game with those 2 guys, and I think this is going to be a really good series. And we'll start with what both these teams need to do to win this series. And we'll start with the team that knocked out the defending champs. That's the Minnesota Timberwolves. Number 1, pretty obviously, Ant-Man has got to be great. Cats has got to be their number 2 guy. When Cats played really well in games, played really well in Game 7. He played really well in Game 2. He's got to be that Robin to Anthony Edwards Batman. He's got to be that number 2 guy. And then number 3, their defense has to continue to be great. This is the best, bar none, this is the best defensive team in the NBA. They held the Nuggets to under 100 points in 4 games. In all 4 of their wins, they held the Nuggets under 100, and they held the Suns under 100 in 2 of those 4 wins. So this defensive team, 6 times they've held teams. They've had 6 games. They've held the other team to under 100 points in the playoffs. So this is clearly the best defensive team in the postseason. So for me, it's Ant's got to be great. Cat's got to be that Robin, and they got to continue to play the defense they're playing.
Yeah, for me, number 1, kind of that you mentioned with the complimentary stars, they got to show up and help out Anthony Edwards. You mentioned it. Cat had a great Game 7. I thought he really stepped up towards the end of that series. And then Jaden McDaniels, who had a really good series defensively, and then there's a couple games where he really gave you something in the offensive end. Those are the guys that kind of got to step up for him, and help on both sides of the ball against this Mavericks team. second one is limit the second chance opportunities. Before the playoff game so far, they've grabbed at least 14 off of the rebounds. Now you do have Cat and Gobert down there, and I think they should be able to limit that. But you don't want to give them kind of second chance opportunities, be able to get a couple layups after or kick out for three. And then my third one is make somebody other than Luka or Kyrie beat you in the series. I know PJ Washington's played really well, but other than that, they don't really have many guys. They've really struggled to find other guys to really help them out this postseason. So, kind of really target those two guys to shut them down and then make somebody else beat you, because I don't really see that happening. And if they can contain Luka and Kyrie good enough, I don't see any chance the Mavericks win the series.
And this leads us to what the Mavs got to do to win this series. And then first and foremost, Luka has got to be outstanding. They don't have the T-Wolves are the better team. They have more talent. So this means that Luka has got to have a better. I think Luka has got to outplay Anthony Edwards for the Mavs to win the series, for the Mavs to get to the final. So Luka has got to be great. He's got to score at least 25 points every game. He has got to be great for the Mavs to win the series. Number two, Kyrie has got to be the number two guy. Now, there have been times in game 3 and then in game 6, he has stepped up. But there have been other times where he has scored. There were other games, even when the Mavs won, where he would score 9 or 10 points. You can't get away with winning this. This is a better team than the Thunder. The Thunder had a great year, but that was an inexperienced playoff team. I know this is kind of an inexperienced, I know the T-Wolves are inexperienced too. But the thing about the T-Wolves is they were in the playoffs the last 2 years. And they just knocked out the defending champs on their home court and beat that team 3 times on their home court. So this is a better team. The T-Wolves are a better team than the Thunder. So Kyrie has got to be that number 2. He has got to be that guy. Yes, he has shown it at times, but he has got to show it consistently if they're going to beat this team. And number 3, they got to contain Anthony Edwards. If Anthony Edwards is averaging, 25 to 30 points a game, they're not winning, because the T-Wolves are the better team. They're the better team. So 3 things for me. Luka's got to be great. Kyrie's got to be the number 2, and they got to contain Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, sir. I actually had the same point as your last one there with Anthony Edwards. Yeah. He had, he really showed that first half of game 7, and he really came out in the second half and was, played a little better there. And then, the guys around him. But yeah, Anthony Edwards, who's, he had 44 in a game in the series, and then he 43 in game 1 against Denver. So he's been the guy that can really fill up when he gets on. And, you cannot let him get loose, because then that opens it up for everybody else. And they do have some good shooters around him. So that it's huge for Dallas to kind of make sure that he does not completely go off against you. And my second one too was Kyrie. He needs to be that number 2 for Luka. Because outside of him and Luka, there really hasn't been much output offensively besides PJ Washington. So, with Minnesota's defense, I think we're gonna probably see Jaden McDaniels and Kyrie. So again, at times when Casey Wallace was on when they made that switch and he was guarding Kyrie, we saw him be a little bit more passive offensively. So he's got to be aggressive. He's really got to step up. And then my third point is the defense. The defense has got to play well in the series, as a whole. Those huge additions that they made to get the rim protection, Daniel Gafford and then Derek Lively that they drafted out of Duke, they were 21st before the trade, before they got Gafford, and then since the trade, they've been second in the league in rim protection defense. So, this is a better rim, with Cat and Rudy Gobert, it's going to be a little bit tougher, because all they really had, the Thunder did was Chet down low. So this is going to be a little bit tougher defensively, but I think Dallas, the defense there has been huge in why they've kind of made this run in the postseason. So their defense got to continue to play good basketball on that end of the floor.
Yes, it is. And you got 2 really good defensive teams right now. So you might see games, in the 90s, in the low hundreds. You might see some defensive battles in this series. I wouldn't be surprised. But ultimately, this series is about the 2 superstars, Anthony Edwards and Luka Doncic. And the big question is who would you rather have? Which superstar would you rather have on your team with these 2 guys? For me, it is super close. I think Ant-Man is better defensively, but I think what gives Luka the edge for me is he's great offensively, and he's a little bit better than Anthony Edwards at making the guys around him better. So For me, it's very close between the two. It is really, really close. And let me tell you something. If one of the two wins a title, they're in that conversation for best player in the league. Let me say, one of these two guys is going to be in that conversation for the best player in the league if they win a championship. It's very close for me, but I'm gonna go with Luka because of his offensive game, making guys better around him. Because it's more of an offensive league than a defensive league, but it's very close for me.
Yeah, for me, I take Luka too in a close battle. I think something with Luka too that he's so unique to guard because he's 6'7", 230, and a lot of guards that try to guard him, he could kind of just back you down with his strength. And yeah, he's not the quickest guy. He's not the fastest one out there, but when he's at you at his hip and he can just go to the basket, he could just back you down with his strength. And that's something that is just very unique in the sport. Yeah, his defense isn't where Anthony Edwards is, but I do think he makes his teammates better. And I think he's at times a little bit more consistent than Anthony Edwards shooting the basketball. But yeah, but yeah, like I just think Luka right now is just still a little bit better than Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, it's really close. It's really close between the two. They're clearly, you can't argue this. They are two top 5 players in this league right now. Now, Edwards has made a huge jump. I mean, he probably wasn't even top 15 going into the season, and now he's top 5. He's clearly top 5. So both these guys have made a jump. It's just if you're picking between the two, I think you take Luka because he's been great a lot. He's been great a lot longer than Ant-Man, and he just makes guys around him a little bit better.
Yeah, absolutely. And then last couple of years, we've seen Dallas kind of make a run, and Luka's kind of had to carry them. And yeah, Anthony Edwards has made that kind of jump this year, and he's really been a huge part of why Minnesota has made this run and have gotten the conference finals. But yeah, Luka's done it a little bit longer. We've seen it a little bit more out of him. And even with this team, we've talked about it. Only Kyrie and PJ Washington right now are really only 2 other guys that have scored the basketball for the most part. And Anthony Davis, Anthony Towns has been a really good scorer. Jaden McDaniels at times. Rudy Gobert has filled it up offensively at times. So I think there's been guys too, from Minnesota that are a little bit. The team, Minnesota's been a little bit better as a team than Dallas has, and I think Luka's been a huge part of why they've gotten here, and as well, because they just don't have as many options as Minnesota has.
Yeah, Luka's just been, especially in games 5 and 6 of the last series, Luka was absolutely phenomenal. Triple-double in a game, in a closeout game. Shows you why he is one of the best players in basketball. It shows you why Luka is definitely one of the best players in basketball. So now for the series, though. I think the series, we talked about the Ant-Man Luka debate. This series is as close as that. This series is super close for me because I think Dallas is ultimately the best player in the series. But I think Minnesota is the better team and has home court. But I think it's going to go back and forth. I think this series is going to go back and forth. I think it's going to be a great series. I think it's going 7. I think this thing's going the distance. But I'm going to take the Timberwolves to make their first ever title, to make their first ever NBA Finals appearance. I got the Timberwolves making their first ever NBA Finals appearance. And I'm going to say this too. I think the T-Wolves beat the Mavs. I think they're beating the Celtics, winning the championship. And I think Ant-Man's going to be the face of the league.
Yeah, I'm with you. I had Timberwolves in 6. I think, we saw it. They've been able to close it out on the road. We saw that going up to Denver. Nobody really thought they had a chance in that basketball game. And they were able to come back from 20 points down to win that basketball game. So, yeah, I think it's close, evenly match up. And I could easily see the Mavs win. But I think Minnesota takes them out at 6. And I'm with you. I don't trust Boston. Do you know that? I think Minnesota knocks them out. I think Minnesota's a scary nightmare for Boston. I think that's a bad matchup for them. So I'm with you. I think Minnesota would knock out the Celtics as well. I think they got the answers defensively to slow down Tatum and Brown. So yeah, and if they do, Anthony Edwards is definitely the new face of the league. Which, yeah, you mentioned for the season. I don't think anybody would have had that in the cards before the season.
Before the season, I don't think people thought that the T-Wolves would even make the playoffs. They barely made the playoffs last year, and they had that fight on the bench. And we were arguing before the season. We were thinking they had made a terrible move. I don't think the move was. Listen, I still don't like the Gobert trade, trading 4 first-round pick for a guy that has a career averages 13 points a game for his career. But the rise of Anthony Edwards is the biggest reason why they're in the spot they're in. He's improved more than any player in this league this year by a pretty significant margin, and that's the biggest reason why the Wolves are in the situation. And I think the winner of this series wins the finals. And I think if Luka or Ant-Man wins, I think one of those two guys is the face of the league. Whoever wins this series, and if they go on to beat the Celtics or Pacers, I think one of those two guys is the face of the league. Because even if, but say the Celtics win the championship, Tatum's not the face of the league. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. Maybe it elevates him to like maybe top 5, but he's not the face of the league. If the Mavs or whoever wins, if the Mavs or T-Wolves win the championship, Ant-Man or Luka will be the face of the league.
Yeah, I can see that. I think Tatum could because of Boston, and if he plays really well in the finals, hits a couple big shots, puts up like 40 a couple times, then I think you can make that case that he will. But yeah, I think Luka, and Edwards, I feel a little bit more confident about the Wolves beating the Celtics than I do Dallas, just because I don't know if Dallas still has enough. But I could easily, with how good Luka is, I could really see them knocking him off. But yeah, if either of these two teams win, I could definitely see them being the new face of the league. And we kind of talked about at the end of the first round, a lot of the old guys, LeBron, KD, even like Giannis, like a lot of the established stars that have been around for a couple of years have kind of all been eliminated. Now it's more the new age guys, and one of these two, if they could win it, definitely are going to be the face of that.
Yeah, I definitely could see that happening. But because these Pacers beat the Knicks on Sunday, there's only one team in MSG that is still playing, and we will talk about their conference matchup with the Panthers. But before that, we are going to hear from our friends at JPEG Financial and Shamrock Home Inspections.
Do you have a 401k and some savings for future retirement, but don't even know if it's enough to live off of? How much is enough? How often are you thinking about it? The team at JPEG's Financial Group can help set your mind at ease. We specialize in creating strategies in the planning and managing of your financial, educational, and investment needs. We help clients pursue their investment goals with sound financial strategies. You deserve a personal, tailored plan. Lasting, meaningful, and open relationships are the foundation of our practice. You've worked hard for your money and should feel confident in your investment choices as you make decisions for your financial future. Your goals are our goals. We are dedicated to your needs and hopes for your future. Visit our website and give us a call at 860-430-5397. Securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Raymond James Financial Services Advisors, Inc. JPEG's Financial Group, LLC is not a registered broker-dealer and is independent of Raymond James Financial Services. JPEG's Financial Group is located at 78 Eastern Boulevard, Glastonbury, Connecticut. There's no bigger investment than home ownership. And to make sure the house is up to your standards, you need a professional to look it over. Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections is a licensed home inspector and a member of the Connecticut Association of Home Inspectors. Brian was a contractor for over 15 years, so he knows how homes should be constructed and how mechanicals should work.
What makes me a good home inspector was the 20 years that I was a home improvement person, doing all the different repairs that I have done and what other people have done wrong that I had to go out and fix. So I have a pretty quick eye on seeing what's right and what's wrong. Before you move, call Shamrock Home Inspections.
Before you make the biggest investment of your life, call Brian Flanagan from Shamrock Home Inspections at 860-268-2566 or visit shamrockhomeinspectionct.com.
Welcome back here to Sports Talk with R&J. And, Steve will be right back dealing with a little technical difficulties at the moment. But we first are going to talk about this Rangers-Panthers series in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Rangers were able to hold on. They started the series up 3-0. They were able to kind of settle things down. They did lose in Game 5, but able to go down to Carolina, came back down from a 3-1 deficit there in the third period, and Chris Kreider really led them to that victory to survive and kind of avoid the scare there. And the Florida Panthers, pretty much kind of were on cruise control against that series against Boston. could not close it out at home in Game 5. And then Game 6, they got a late goal there, with about a minute and a half left. That from Forsland to close that series out and get a 2-1 victory there. And again, for the Panthers, they're the favorite right now to win the Stanley Cup. This is going to be a tough series. I know the Rangers won the President's Trophy, but Vegas has them as the fourth. Having out of the 4 teams left, they're kind of fourth. Vegas puts them right now, and in the odds to win the Stanley Cup Final. So, some disrespect there from the Rangers, but we got 4 teams here in the finals. That are trying to kind of erase a drought here in the Stanley Cup. The Rangers haven't won obviously since '94.
Right.
And
perfect timing. We start talking hockey when my thing goes down. It was nice, nice. So we got the Panthers and Rangers, and where were you before we just started previewing everything?
Yeah, I was just talking about the 4 teams that are kind of remaining here and how there's going to be some new blood to win a Stanley Cup this year. The Rangers haven't won since '94. The Panthers have never won a cup. The Stars haven't won a cup since '99, and the Oilers haven't won since 1990. And the Oilers as well trying to, erase that drought for all the Canadian teams. Montreal's the last one to win it in '93. So we're gonna have some new blood here. Finally win a Stanley Cup, and I think it's great for the sport. And I think the ratings, I guess, have been awesome for the sport.
Really.
See,
yeah,
so.
it would. I think it'd be nice to get a Rangers Oilers final. Let's be real.
Yes.
I mean, really, we didn't get it 2 years ago. They both lost in the cup, but to get McDavid against the New York market, that would be the dream. That would be the dream for ESPN to get that final.
Oh, absolutely. Gary Bettman would be loving that because Dallas, Florida, those are 2 really good teams, but that's not really, not really going to draw well. So absolutely, Rangers, Oilers, you get those 2, man. That'd be an awesome series. That's definitely what ESPN and the NHL are looking for.
Yeah. So all right. So now getting to the Rangers series against the Panthers, and I think this is an interesting series. You got the Rangers, the President's Trophy winner, but they're playing the defending Eastern Conference champs. I think this is a step up in competition from the Hurricanes because the Panthers swept the Hurricanes last year. It's definitely, let's not even bring up the Capitals. Definitely a step up for competition from them. But the biggest thing is we'll start with the Rangers. What do they have to do to win this series? What do the Rangers have to do to get back to the Stanley Cup final? They were there 10 years ago. What do they have to do to get there in 2024?
Yeah, for the Rangers to get there, they got to be better 5-on-5. In that series against Carolina, they were outscored 13-12. And the Panthers, in 17 games so far, they've only allowed 17 even strength goals. So, and New York has 22 even strength goals throughout the playoffs. They got to be better 5-on-5. This is a deeper Florida team. They got more scores. This is not going to be easy. This is going to be another kind of tuck and pull. Usually by now, the refs usually start to let more go. I feel like they've been calling more penalties than usual in the playoffs, but we'll see if they kind of, even that out and start letting a little bit more go. Number 2, do not get drawn in the muck from the Panthers. They have a reputation throughout the league that the Panthers are a dirty team. They're gonna probably late.
Oh, I saw that in that series against the Bruins. They were dirty. And let me tell you, the Bruins weren't saying nice things. Those 2 teams don't like each other. The Bruins were not saying nice things about them, and on the other side, the Panthers were not saying nice things about the Bruins.
No, the Marchand quote there. We're all trying to injure guys. I get what he's saying there, but yeah, these 2 teams do not like each other. The Panthers kind of got that reputation. The Rangers have been great on the power play. Do not sink to the level when you got a power play opportunity or about to. Do not be the guy that comes in and tries and makes it a 4-on-4. Make them pay by just scoring that power play goal. That's how you make it pay for it. Do not sink to the level. And I wonder. I don't think you're gonna see Matt Rempe. I think Phil Peel's gonna be ready to go, and I think maybe Blake Wheeler at a point. So I don't think we'll see Rempe, but we'll see. That's a guy that at times this year has he'll answer the call when he gets invited to dance for a fight. So, and then finally for the Rangers, protect home ice. You're 4-1 so far in the postseason. Get the wins early on in the series. It'll be huge confidence going down to Florida. That's gonna be a tough place to play. I know the Rangers will draw down there. They'll get some fans, but just go to Florida feeling good about yourself because this is a good team, and it's going to be a lot of probably 1-goal games. Maybe an empty netter makes it a 2 or 3 goal game, but protect that home ice, get up early, and have some confidence going down to Florida.
Yeah, for me, and I'm gonna piggyback off your point. Keep playing well in MSG. They were 4-1 in the postseason in MSG. This team usually plays really well. When they're good, they play really well at home. Just keep playing well at home. You have the home ice advantage. You earned that by winning the President's Trophy. Just keep playing well at home. Number 2, they got to get off to fast starts in this series. And that was an issue against Carolina. Outside of game 1, that was an issue against Carolina. They fell behind. And all three of their 4 wins in the Carolina series, they fell behind in those games. And they also fell behind in game 4. That's why they couldn't close them out early on. And then we all remember game 6 where they were down 3-1 going to the third period. This Panther team is not going to blow a 3-1 lead. Carolina has been known as a good regular season team, but not a great playoff team. This Panther team won the Eastern Conference. This is a Panther team that has won the last 5 games at TD Garden in the playoffs. They knocked out a team that had the best record in NHL history last year in the Boston Bruins. So this is a team that plays really well at home. This is a team that swept the team last year in the conference finals, who we just beat in the second round. So they got to get off to fast starts, because if they don't, they're going to be in trouble in this series. And then number 3, just have Igor continue to be Igor. Igor continue to play well, because that's our strength. It's always been the strength of the Rangers ever since I've been a fan. From Mike Richter to King Hendrick to Igor Shesterkin. It has always been the strength of the Rangers to have a really good goalie. And if all those things happen, the Rangers are playing for the cup.
Yeah, absolutely. I love those 3 points, especially getting off to the fast start. Yeah, that's a great one, because they've been really slow out of the gate at times this postseason. And that's going to burn you against a Florida team that is a lot deeper at the forward spots, that will continue putting goals, and where a Carolina team where they kind of struggle when you get down that third, fourth line. And you saw that in game 6. They could not hold on to 3-1 lead, and Kreider was a hero. So yeah, the Rangers got to get off to a much faster start and get up on the Panthers early on, because Bobrovsky's been playing well. It's not going to be easy to tack on goals with him. So yeah, Rangers got to power faster.
Oh, definitely. They definitely do. Now we'll move on to the defending Eastern Conference champs. And what do they got to do to win this series? What do the Panthers got to do to return to the Stanley Cup final?
So limit the Rangers' power play opportunities. Rangers were the best team in the regular season on the power play unit. They've been pretty good so far in the postseason. And the Panthers have been pretty good killing it off. They're 86%. And again, we talked about, at the top, the Panthers are the better team 5-on-5. Let the series dictate that out. Do not let the Rangers get 5-on-4 opportunities. Or even when you're on the power play too, don't let the Rangers get the shorthanded goal. They got 4 so far in the postseason. So for the Panthers, limit the special teams for the Rangers, win the series 5-on-5. Number 2, win the goaltending battle between Bobrovsky and Igor. This is the Sergei Bobrovsky, who's really struggled at times since coming to Florida. But this season, he's really looked at the guy from Columbus, where in that 4 overtime game in 2020 in the bubble, he had 86 saves. I think it was 86 saves against Tampa Bay. He's in the Vezina finalist. He just, for the best goalie of the year, he won a battle against Vasilevsky against Tampa Bay in the first round, the last round with Swayman in the Bruins. So he's been really good so far in the postseason. Igor's, right there, going to be his toughest test right there with Vasilevsky. He's got to win those battles, especially because I think they're going to be a little, I think it could be a little bit more high scoring from the Carolina one, but because of these 2 goalies, I could see a lot of 3-2s, 2-1s yet again. And my final one is, you talked about with the Panthers, the road confidence. They're 4-1 so far this postseason on the road. They won a franchise record 26 games away from home this season. That was second best behind only the Dallas Stars. So they've been really good on the road. They haven't been phased on the road. So continue that. Try to take one from the Rangers here in the first 2 and put the Rangers back on their heels.
And talking about the Panthers, are you surprised they're a favorite in this series?
I'm surprised Vegas didn't. I'm surprised Vegas is, made the Panthers. I'm not surprised, because they had Carolina favored against the Rangers, and I think the Panthers are a better team than the Canes, and I just think it's a 5-on-5 thing. But it is crazy, because it is a New York team to be 4th right now, but even behind the Oilers. I don't trust the Oilers outside their top line.
Oilers got a lot of star power though with
McDavid
and Draisaitl, but this is a different sport. It's not about star power. It's about continuity. It's more about the continuity of players in the NHL.
Yes, absolutely. So that's why I'm surprised the Oilers are even in front of the Rangers. But I don't know. But so I'm not totally surprised. But again, I think it's more motivation here for the Rangers to kind of, like, hey, we got home ice throughout the playoffs, but we're still not getting that respect. So, I'm not totally surprised that the Panthers are, but I hope the Rangers use that to their advantage in the series yet again, like they did against Carolina, and do it that way because yeah, it's a little bit surprising, but it's a five. They're an average team 5-5. I think that's the big reason why.
And what's your prediction for the series? I'm going to go with the Rangers in 7.
Yeah, I'm going Rangers 7. I know I kind of lost a lot of confidence in them, but I'll take the angle if I helped jinx the Hurricanes there in Game 6.
No, you did. You definitely did. Oh,
yeah,
I picked to beat the Hurricanes. You definitely jinxed it there.
Yeah, I jinxed it. I'll go with that. But that third period in Game 6 really showed me a lot about that team and the fight in that team. And
oh yeah,
I hadn't seen that.
And coming back, I didn't think they were going to win that game. I thought we were getting Game 7 at the Garden, and they ended up pulling that one out.
Yeah, which is awesome. And Chris Kreider, the guy that's been here forever, and I think he's the only. I think Messi and I forget the other guy that. He's only the third guy in Rangers history to score like a hat trick in the same period in the playoffs. So he's in elite company there with Messier, and yeah, showed me a lot. Kreider, that kind of the leader of this group and one of the veteran guys, one of the oldest guys on that team. The way he went out there third period and the rest of the team followed, showed me a lot of heart and fighting that team, and I think that's going to help him carry on in the series.
Absolutely, absolutely. We'll move on to the Western Conference between the Oilers and Stars. You got a lot of star power in this series. You got McDavid and Draisaitl for the Oilers, and then you got Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin for the Stars. So, Justin, we'll start with the Oilers. What do they got to do to get to the Stanley Cup Finals? And this would be their first since like the 80s, right?
I think first since the
1990.
Yeah,
1990 when they beat the Bruins. Yeah, I got it. 1990 when they beat the Bruins.
Yeah, so it's been a while.
That was after Gretzky left too.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so it's been a while for this Oilers group, and they've been knocking on the door the last couple of years, and they have gotten it going now. And for Edmonton in this one, it's outside the top line. They need the other guy to step up. The Stars are a very good defensive team. I think they're going to make it tough on that top line to get some stuff going. McDavid, Draisaitl, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, Zach Hyman. Those are kind of their top guys, and they got to, other guys behind them have to step up and score some goals for them because it'd be a tough one. And McDavid, I've heard, it may not be 100% healthy. You saw in Game 7, very passive. He's only got 2 goals this postseason, 19 assists. So he might be kind of dealing with something, trying to play through it too. So he might need the help in the series. And then my second one is take advantage on the power play. They got 15 goals on 40 opportunities. That's 37% so far in the playoffs. So they've been one of the best power play units in the postseason. And 5-4 with that group at the top line makes it even harder to stop them when they got a man up. And then my third one is going into the second intermission, hold on the leads. The last couple of years, they've won a lot of games at second intermission. They kind of they almost did in Game 7. They held on for dear life, and then Game 4 in that series they blew a 2-1 lead. Game 1 they blew a 4-1 lead. They've had collapses in the third period went up. The Stars, you mentioned, they're more deeper at the forward spot, so they're gonna make it tough on the Oilers. And when you got a lead, Skinner's not a great goalie. Hold on to those leads, and you can't blow it because a Star team like this, they steal one of those games, it's going to be tough to beat them 5 times because you blew like a 4-1 lead. It'll be tough to kind of get an extra one against them. So hold on to your leads going to second intermission when you have them.
What do the Stars got to do to get to their second Stanley Cup final in 5 years?
For the Stars, win a low-scoring series. That was the better team. They're deeper, and they're led by the defense. They don't want to get out into a shootout against this Oilers group because that's going to be a lot tougher for them. To beat them. They just contained a really good Colorado Avalanche offense. The Avs were they had no idea what to do. And then my second one is Islanders the better goalie in the series. You should win the goaltender matchup. I think it's the biggest advantage the Stars have going in this one. He's been really good since Game 3 of the first round against Vegas. Since then his goals against average is .93. Skinner's been pulled a couple times this series. He's been benched as well. He's not great. I injure if he's on top of his game. The Stars should have no problem winning this series. And then my third one is the Stars need their top scorers that have an impact on the series. Robbie Hent's a 30-goal scorer. He's only got 6 points so far in 11 postseason games. He did leave the last game with an injury. I think it sounds like he'll give it a go, but you never know in hockey. They're very, very vague on the injuries. So, and then Joe Pavelski, the 18-year veteran, he's still looking to light the lamp for the first time this postseason. So, a couple of their stars haven't gotten it going. If they can, they're going to be really tough to beat, and the Oilers are going to have trouble because of how good Dallas is offensively.
What's your prediction for the series? Who do you got? Who do you got getting to the final?
I got Dallas in 6. I think Edmonton will get a couple at home, but I think Dallas is I think Dallas is a much better team because I think Colorado is better than Edmonton, and Colorado had a really frustrating time trying to get anything going offensively against Dallas. So I think Dallas gets it done. I think Ottenberger plays really well in this series, and Dallas gets back to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, I think they do too. I got the Stars winning it in 6. So we'll wrap up talking some baseball, and we'll talk about the Yankees. And I know they've lost 2 in a row, but they're still a game and a half in first place. Aaron Judge has been red hot. Soto's been playing well. They've been pitching really, really well. I know Clay Holmes blew the save on Monday, but he's had a really good year as well. So, the Yankees first place right now, playing really well. But there is one concern about the Yankees, and for me, it's their record against the better teams in baseball, especially against they're 1-5 against the Orioles and the Mariners, and they're 8-7 against teams that are over 500. Now, you got to give them credit. I know the Astros aren't as good this year, but you got to give them credit with the way they played the Astros. They're 5-1 against the Astros. They also won 2 out of 3 against the Guardians and 2 out of 3 against the Brewers. I just think the thing that's a little bit concerning with them is their 1-5 record against the Mariners and against the Orioles.
Yeah, that's definitely a concern right now for them. Monday night was a tough one. They left so many guys, they hit so many double play balls. They should have had more than 4 runs. They didn't. I know they always beat up on the Twins, but I know the Twins are trying to come out of the earth, but sweep on them was good. But yeah, it's a little bit concerning. They did go to Trop too, which has always been a house's horrors for them. So I know their schedule's about to get tough. They're about to go out west here with San Diego. The Angels aren't great, obviously. The Giants have kind of been mediocre. And then you got the Twins and Dodgers the next couple of weeks. So and then Kansas City, who's been really good too so far this year. So it's a tougher schedule coming up. So I think we're going to learn a lot about this Yankee team. But yeah, the little concern in the way they play against Baltimore. And a Seattle team that I thought was going to be better. I have them win the American League. And that's not looking great right now, but
they could pitch. They just can't. They
can pitch. Yeah, Julio's having kind of a down year right now. It's not been great, but I think for the Yankees, gotta hopefully salvage this because 8-7 against the better teams. It's gonna get tougher soon, but it's been nice to beat up on the. It's good they're winning games against the bad competition, but it's gonna get a lot tougher soon, and they got to start kind of beating those teams more. They got to be better against those teams, better teams.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. They got to be better against the better teams. But the thing is they're still playing really well. They're still in first place. They still got the best record in the American League. And I think I like the lineup, even though at times it's just nitpicking. I don't love Verdugo in the 4-hole, but he's hit there. He's got some big hits there, so I'll give that to him. So really, they're solid all around. And who would have thought at 33-17 without Garrett Cole they would be this good?
Yeah, I did not see this coming. The rotation's been really good. Louis Seal's been pitching well. Stroman's been a really nice addition. I was a little worried about that one. Schmidt's been pretty good. I know last night he said he was tipping his pitches. And he think that's why Seattle kind of got to him. And I think Dylan Moore hit that 3-run bomb. So yeah, the start has been great. And Cole, sometime in June, you get him back. So that'd be huge. So yeah, and then the bullpen, you get Tommy Kahnle back tonight, which is big. And then Holmes has been awesome. Monday night, he blew it, but it was blue hits and walks. It wasn't hard contact. So those are going to happen, especially how good he's been. So yeah, it feels like the Yankees right now, really good shot to win the American League. But for them, for years, it's been, what do you do in the month of October? So yeah, keep it up. But, part of it's kind of, can you finally get over the October hump here?
Yeah, that's the thing. But we'll worry about that when we get to October. There's still a long season to go. They still got a bunch of games against the Orioles. They still got games against, even though the Rangers are not good so far, they still got games against the Rangers. You said it. They got games against the Dodgers. They got more games against the Twins. They haven't even played the Red Sox yet. And then we'll get to the Red Sox. They've been kind of surprising. So yeah, listen, it's early. I'm not worried about October yet. What I'm worried about is winning the AL East. I think the biggest key for this Yankees team is to win the AL East, to get that bye. That's the key. Don't get into that. You don't want to get into that, 3-game series. It is so crucial for them to beat the Orioles and win the AL East.
Yeah, it absolutely is. The Orioles are a really good team, and yeah, to have the bye, I know teams have kind of struggled at the top, but man, if you can kind of really set your rotation, you can get the home field advantage. I think it's huge, especially because the other teams kind of thought, the Astros have been down, the Texas hasn't fully got it going yet. Cleveland's been a huge surprise right now in the AL Central, and so has the Royals. So, but like if you get one of those two teams going to New York in month of October, you're feeling pretty good. I know Cleveland almost got them a couple years ago, but yeah, it's huge to win the American League East, and and even if you play a Baltimore in the ALCS, to have home field advantage, it's huge in that spot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's definitely huge to have that. And Baltimore, they haven't came to the stadium yet, so we'll see what happens when they do. But Yankees right now, first place. I know they've lost 2 to the Mariners, but they're in first place at 33-17. But we'll wrap up talking about the Red Sox. The Red Sox have been surprising. Red Sox right now, they're 25-24. They're in third. I know they're in third place in the division, but they're only a half game out of the wild card race. I think the story for them, again, how it's been all year. Their starting pitching, their bullpen have been really good. And now their offense is picking it up, especially with the way Rafael Devers has been hitting the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Last night his streak was snapped of 6 consecutive games with a home run. But last night too, they clinched their first series win in Tampa Bay in over 5 years. So huge for them. And
that's a big one.
Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah, that's been another house of horrors down there for them. And if you told me at the end of May that the Yankees and Red Sox would have the 2 best ERAs in the league, I would be very surprised. And they're both under 3 right now, and that's been so yeah, the lineup's starting to come together because the pitching staff's been really good, and now that the lineup's starting to get it going, definitely huge for this Red Sox team to kind of hopefully to continue to claw back here in the American League East.
Oh yeah, yes. They're clawing back. Let me tell you, I think there is a chance that they're got a good chance to make the playoffs because there's a chance they get Yoshida back. There's a chance they get Cassius back. So you're doing this without 2 of their better hitters in the lineup, and that's been the weakest part of their team. Has been their lineup. Because Tommy, really outside of O'Neill, who's that? I can't remember that shortstop's last name. It's
the shortstop is Rafaela
and Devers. They really haven't hit that well, but their pitching and their bullpen have kept them afloat. They've kept them in it. And, say they can maybe they can do some trade deadline. This team, Craig Breslow can't be Highland Bloom. He's got to do something at the trade deadline, give this team a chance to compete for a wild card spot in the last 2 months of the season. And I think they're in position to do that. I really do. I think with their manager and with their pitching, with their bullpen, I think they're in position to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. They have some guys at the farm. We know Heim built that thing up very well. They're one of the better ones in the league, so they do have assets down there. And I think Yoshida and Casas, I think they're both maybe hoping maybe the end of June, maybe for Casas at some point in July. But you get those 2 guys back soon, as you mentioned, would be huge. And Rafael's been pretty good. Williard, Abreu, too, another rookie. Like they've had guys to step up, and I know first base right now is the issue, but with Dominic Smith and Garrett Cooper, they both haven't been great in that spot, but at first base. But if you can get Casas back right around the deadline, you could add another piece or 2, especially the bullpen. This Red Sox team's definitely gonna be in contention. Because Tampa, this is not the same Tampa team.
No, it's not the same Tampa team, and Toronto can't hit.
No, and Toronto's a mess. And then
you look at the rest of the AL. Do you try? I'm not totally. I know the Royals have been good. I'm not totally buying the Royals. The Twins, I feel like they're average. I think the Guardians are still the best team in their division. And then I do think the Rangers will pick it up, but they haven't been that good so far. So I wouldn't be surprised if this team gets a wild card.
No, me neither. Yeah, Toronto looks like that team's a sinking ship, and a lot of changes might be. There's already rumors of Vladdy and Bo maybe being on the move in July, and the Royals. We'll see if they can put 162 together, but they've been awesome at home, and you expect when Scherzer and Verlander or Scherzer comes back, and DeGrom, that the Rangers will get it going in July. But and the Astros, yeah, they're not going to. The GM said it, I think yesterday, he's not going to sell. But you said the Astros maybe start to play a little bit better baseball. I know they have. So yeah, definitely possible for the Red Sox to sneak in and get one of the wild card spots this postseason.
Oh, it's definitely possible. I would not be surprised at all if this team ends up making the playoffs. But that's going to wrap it up this week on Sports Talk with R&J. For Justin and Afro, I'm Steve Risser. We will be back. We will be back next week, continuing to talk about the conference finals in the NBA, continuing to talk about the conference finals in the NHL, and giving you the latest with the Yankees and Red Sox. Have a great Memorial Day weekend, everyone.
Hello, my name is Joe Aguirre. I'm the president of Clovercrest Media Group. And here at CMG, we have a wide variety of podcasts, including sports shows like Keys to the City, The Roll Call, Throwing Jabs, All Four Downs, and Jawing About the G-Men. And great true crime shows like Sticky Week, Crimes and Consequences, Ivy League Murders, and Bird, the unsolved murder of David Eichmann. You can find all these podcasts and so much more by visiting clovercrestmedia.com.